Hello, I'm Debbie Major, and welcome to Fall into Financial Fitness. This is part of the Teacher Talks series. We are starting off this series, with some basics of financial fitness that we all want to get started with as our new year, or at least new school year, starts and gets going. So, welcome. Thanks for joining us. I'm really glad you're here. This should last about 20 minutes or so, and I do have some bonuses at the end for you and some resources for you, so please stay until the end. Again, this is called Falling into Financial Fitness. All right, a little disclaimer about who I am and who I work for, and that this is for information. And what are we going to talk about today? So there's three things that I want to talk about today, and I realize in 20 minutes you can only cover so many things. So I wanted to start with, where's our foundation? Because laying the best foundation is the best way to get started successfully, and I want all of you to be successful. So when do we start? First foundational rock that we're going to put in. Second foundational rock is knowing your money priorities. And the third foundational rock we're putting in today is to start looking at not all money is taxed the same. Like I said just a second ago, please stay until the end. I do have some valuable resources to get linked to you, and that you can get, so that you will know what to do and to empower you further. All right, a little bit about me, who I am, so you know who's talking to you here for the next 20 minutes. I used to be a teacher. I was a teacher for 17 years. I taught both public school and Cleveland schools, and I taught both in private school, Christian and Lutheran school. I became a financial planner in 2010. My focus has been on helping teachers to be successful in their retirement planning, and empowering women especially to be empowered to take charge of their finances and to feel confident about their finances. I have a system called the PATH system for financial success, and this is the framework that I use when I'm making a financial plan, and I share it now because a lot of people and teachers have told me that they find it helpful to use it in looking at the plan that they currently have, either with their advisor or the one that they're doing themselves. So the first part of the PATH, the P, stands for personal. You want to make sure your financial journey is based on your values, on your goals and objectives, and where you want to go. So it needs to be personalized. It's not just a general, you're this age, so we do this with everyone who's this age, or some other kind of generic advice. It should be personalized to you. Secondly, the A stands for asset allocation and protection. A lot of times people, especially when they're talking to financial planners or financial advisors, a lot of talk might be on investments and how we're going to invest it for growth, or how we're going to use it for retirement. We also need to make sure, though, that we are allocated correctly. Is our risk correct? Is enough money of our money protected? And how is it protected? And that's, you want to make sure that there is a holistic look at your assets, how they're protected, as well as how are they growing, and are you comfortable, and do you know about how everything is working together. The third thing, the T in PATH, is for time. There's different time horizons for different money that you've got in different either buckets, you can refer to them as, or different money priorities that you have, and the time is going to be important, because that's going to determine how you're going to invest it and what type of account you're going to invest it in. So you always want to make sure you know what is the purpose of your money and how much time is it going to be in that vehicle. And the H is making sure that it's holistic. You want to make sure that, are we not just looking at our finances, but are we looking at how the insurance fits in, how estate planning fits in, the whole picture you want to make sure is taken care of. All right. Number one, so the first thing we want to talk about is, when do we start? And the reason we talk about when to start, and that's the very first thing that I put in here, is due to the compound and compound interest. Albert Einstein actually was one who said compound interest is the 8th wonder of the world. He who understands it earns it. He who doesn't pays it. So how does compound interest work in a practical sense? So I've got a chart here. I know the chart is very small right now on your screen, and I'm going to make it larger for you in a minute. But the purpose of this chart is not necessarily the amount, but the time that money is put away and how time is used. So our first person, we've got two teachers here, Teacher A and Teacher B. So Teacher A, she started studying, putting away money when she was 23. She started at 1,000. She worked her way up to 3,000 a year, and she did that for 10 years. So she stopped when she was 32, and that's all she put away. That's the whole savings that she put into her to her retirement savings account. Teacher B, she's waited because things come up and there's lots going on until she was 33. And she put in $3,000 every year until she decided to retire at 67. Very steady. Great job at putting in money every year and not quitting and just to keep going. So how does this look if we go out for a couple of years and we see what happens at 67? Well, if we highlight and just look in here at the bottom of our chart, let's look at Teacher B first, if you don't mind. So Teacher B, the one on your right, she's the one who saved $3,000 every year. Well, if you look at the bottom, you can see she's put in $105,000. And if you look at what's in green, she ended up saving $820,000, sorry, altogether is what she ended up having in her account. That's fantastic. I know most every one of us would be happy putting in $100,000 and seeing $800,000 in our account. Good job. All right. Look at what happened with Teacher A. Now this, remember, she put in from 23 to 32 and she's just stopped and didn't put anything else in her account. And at the age of 67, so I mean she put in 27,000, that's what's highlighted in yellow. And at the age of 67, she's got over $1 million in her account. Wow. I mean, which one would we rather have? And look how much less she had to save in a matter of time. So that shows you compounding in a real way. I've read a fantastic book lately called Be Your Future Self Now. And it says one of the ways to help us realize that, or be in touch with our future self is to work backwards. So instead, a lot of times we think, well, I'm only however old I am now, and it's a long way off till I'm going to be 65 or 67, ready to retire. And so I really need everything I need to now, because we all get stuck. No matter how old you are, you always get stuck in the present, what's going on now. So one way to look at it to help make it easier and bring it home a little bit is to say, work backwards. Like, how much do I want at 65 when I go to retire? I think I might want to retire at 60. How much do I need to have in the bank so that I can retire comfortably at 60? Because my 68-year-old self is going to want it. My 65-year-old self is going to want that money, is going to need that money so they can retire. And that's going to be me then. So how do I then work backwards and reverse engineer to what I can do now to serve my 65-year-old self? So working backwards and visualizing yourself when you are there is a way to help you realize the importance of starting now and taking steps now to help your future self then. So I hope that's helpful. The second thing I want to look at here is, and this is a great foundational brick to put in, and knowing your money priorities. What do we need to make sure that we know? If we just needed to know a couple things, what are those priorities that we need to know? So the first one is know what's left over each month. This is your discretionary income. This is important whether you do a whole big budget that's line itemed or whether you just know what you've got in the bank and what's left over after your paychecks each month and you've paid your expenses. And this is important because if you're going to do anything with your money, like save up for something, or you've got to buy something, or you want to start doing something new, or you want to have some kind of a membership, you need to know what's left over at the end of the month. So even if you don't do a whole budget and an itemized budget, which I encourage everyone to do at least once or twice to get a handle on where everything is going, but if you don't do that, at least you need to know what is what is the gross income I'm being paid that's coming into this household before all of our taxes. What am I paying in my taxes? and my pre-tax things that may be coming out or anything else. What's all coming out? My health insurance premiums, right? What is my net that goes into my bank account? How much is coming out then from the expenses, and what's that bottom line left over? Know what that is, because to do anything extra or anything else, or to reallocate or move money around so that you can have money to put away for retirement or for whatever it is that you're looking to put money away from, you need to know what that number is. So that's important. Know what's left over each month. Second, you want to build your emergency fund. I was talking to my son recently, they've been looking at buying a house. And so he called me up and we were talking through his spreadsheet and we were going over all of these things. And he has everything itemized, all of the expenses, where the money's going, what it's supposed to grow to, how much they can put away for their retirement, how much they're putting away in their HSA. Everything is itemized at all. And he was talking about, what can we budget for a mortgage, and is this going to be okay? Great conversation. And I asked him, well, what have you got put aside for an emergency fund? I mean, what have you got if one of you, God forbid, got laid off or lost your job or wanted to change jobs? Any one of those scenarios. What are you going to pull from as your emergency fund? And I mean this as a liquid fund, like in a savings account, not in something like a CD or invested where you'd have to wait a couple days to get it out, but what you've got ready cash, you can go and write a check tomorrow and you've got it. And actually, he'd never thought about an emergency fund. And that made me think, sometimes as financial planners, we think everybody knows about an emergency fund. Everybody has one already set up. Everyone does everything. They know what to do. And yet sometimes we don't. So this is a gentle reminder that even though you probably have heard emergency fund, maybe even many times before, or if you have not, that is an important foundational step. Put that money away. It can be 6 months of your expenses. It can be as little as 3 months, depending on where you are and what you have. But that's really your basis before you do anything else. Like if I'm working with someone and they want to set up a retirement account, but they have no emergency fund, I say you've got to do that first, which is actually what I told him. If you're going to go buy a house, you better make sure that emergency fund is built up first before you go, putting money into that, more money into your savings for your down payment, because that's the one that catches you. If something catches you off guard or something tragic happens or anything like that, you're ready. And it gives you peace of mind. And that's how much should be in it, is whatever is peace of mind for you is how much should be in there. All right, our third money priority that I want to bring up today, or the third brick that I want to lay in that foundation, is use debt carefully. Not all debt is bad. Right? We do have mortgages. We do have debt that we took out for school. We do have debt that we buy a car. I mean, not all those loans are not all necessarily bad debt to have. Bad debt to have would be, large credit card debt, things with high interest rates, any kind of payday loan or anything like that, bad debt to have. Those things you want to get rid of as fast as you can. And there's several ways to do it. And if you have questions or want to talk through several ways to get rid of some of those debts and how to do like a debt snowball, feel free to schedule a chat with me, and I'm happy to talk to you about it and give you some ideas. So, but you want to use it carefully. So if you are going to take out a mortgage, you want to make sure you've got it worked into your budget the correct way. If you're going to take a loan, just sometimes we think, oh, it's only going to be a couple $100s a month, and so it's, we can always fit it in. And we do still need to make sure we're looking at it carefully and we manage it. We pay off the things that are really important, and we use that debt wisely. And you can use it wisely. All right, so those are our first things. 1, get started. 2, know your money priorities and get those basics in there, those basic building blocks in there. And then 3rd, goes along with all of them, and it's just, this is a high level. I want you just to realize that not all money is taxed the same. And so how we invest our money is going to be different. And sometimes we focus on just 1 or 2 different kinds of accounts, and that's what we hear about all the time, that we don't realize that you actually have choices out there, and not all of your money is taxed the same. And it can be important, depending on the kind of tax environment we're in or the tax bracket you're in, that you look at some of these things and to look at some ways that the money is, how it's taxed. So I like funnels. To use this because we're starting with our money going in. So our first kind of money is our pre-tax accounts. These are the accounts that usually you use for retirement, your 401k, your 403b, any IRA you might have, traditional IRA, your pension money that's going to come from the state, that's all going to be, that's all a pre-tax account, meaning we're putting it into our investment source or into our accounts without, before it's been taxed. So we either get, it either goes in before it's taxed, or we can deduct it on our taxes when we go to pay our taxes. Now, what happens with our pre-tax accounts is they go in, they go through that funnel, and when they come out, everything that you have in there is taxed as income. So your 401k money, your 403b money, when you go to take money out of those accounts, everything is going to be taxed like ordinary income because it hasn't been taxed before. So it's pre-tax money. It was money that was put in at a tax-advantaged pre-tax way. Our second type of account is our post-tax accounts. All right, this funnel is your things like your bank account, your savings account, your checking account, CDs, things at the bank, real estate like your house or rental properties, brokerage accounts like non-qualified accounts, individual accounts. These are money that you've already paid taxes on it, so you've paid taxes once on it, and now you're investing it from that standpoint, from your things that are taxed. Now, what happens when this money goes into the funnel? Well, when this money goes into the funnel, the only thing that's taxed is the growth. So the growth of the account may be taxable. So you're not taxed on what you put in. You've already made it with after-tax dollars, and you're taxed on the growth. So when you take it out, however the money that you made, that's the money that you're taxed on. The third kind of funnel is called our tax-advantaged accounts. These are things like your Roth IRAs or Roth 401k or 403b. These are things like your FHA and your HSA, cash value life insurance. Now, these can be funded with either pre-tax or post-tax dollars, depending on the account or the type of account that it is. And look what happens when it goes into the funnel. It goes into the funnel, and the only thing that comes out for taxing is nothing. Distributions from this account are tax-free. So that's why these are valuable accounts. These are my favorite accounts because the money that you put in, when you take it out, is going to be tax-free. Now, there are conditions on these accounts. A lot of them have rules. If you have an HSA, if you have FSAs, there's certain things you can spend them on. If you've got a Roth, you've got rules of age and how long you hold on to it. But if you follow the rules, then both what you put in and the growth, everything comes out tax-free when you take it out. So it's a very special account and tax advantage. So remember the three. You've got your pre-tax accounts, you've got your post-tax accounts, and you've got your tax-advantaged accounts. All three of those funnels can be used for your money that you're putting away, depending on the purpose of your money, where it's going, your time horizon for your money, and where it fits into your whole plan and what your personal goals are. All right, well, you know what? We are coming down to the end here, and I want to thank you guys for staying here so much. There are three things that you can do. I hope that you will, for sure, take what you got in here, the foundational things, and apply them to your life. As I mentioned before, I do have a resource of a budget, PDF that I'm happy to send you. Just click the link below, and I will email it right over to you. It's pretty detailed, so it'll give you an idea of categories. So even if you have some kind of a budget template, it would give you a second opinion or a second look at what other budgets may look like and help you with your planning and some different categories or different things to think about. And then thirdly, along with that budget, you could also schedule a 15-minute chat with me if you have questions or you want to know about the kinds of accounts you're invested in or how you might be able to diversify those accounts and invest in differently, or you just have a basic, some basic questions are fine. It's a 15-minute chat between you and I to answer questions, to be able to just to help you. It's my way of giving back because I was a teacher. I know how busy you are. So I'm not trying to take up a bunch of your time. I want to be able to get you quick answers that will help you and so you can succeed and be financially successful. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. I am really glad that you were here. If you found this helpful, please join us every month and soon to be 2 times a month. So keep an eye out for that. You'll get email reminders, and tell your friends to join you and join me in this time together. I welcome you to please do that. You can always reach me at debmajher@teachersroadmap.com, and I will get back to you as soon as I possibly can, usually within 24 hours for sure, on an email, and address the questions if I can as best I can. All right. Thanks again for joining us today. Have a wonderful day, rest of your day. And like I said, I will see you next month. Have a great day.